Occasionally I'll come across a forum post in a watch forum where someone asks the question, how do I set the GMT hand on my GMT watch? And I get confused by that because it seems plain and simple to me what you're supposed to do, but I guess some people get confused by it, or I've actually read people answer their question with a different method than I would normally use, or what I'm using now. So I'll go ahead and describe what I thought you're supposed to do and what I thought I read in the manuals and what makes sense anyway, even if I didn't have a manual. For this example, I use a Rolex GMT-Master II. This is my personal 116710 BLNR, which is the day-night blue-black ceramic bezel by Rolex. Time is currently 4:20 in the afternoon, so 1600 hours in the afternoon. We're in Pacific Daylight Time because it is May 4th, 2014. So as you can see here, if you can barely see here because the minute hand is blocking the hour hand, but it is 4:21 roughly now, close to it, with the GMT hand marking 2300 because it is a +7 offset during daylight time with Pacific Daylight. So I have the blue hand marking 23. Simple. So if you have a Rolex Explorer which doesn't have the rotating bezel this one has, you'll simply just set it to that. So I just mentioned the rotating bezel, and what does that mean? With the rotating bezel, what I can do is if I travel outside of my home, my time zone, if I'm at home in California and I go to, let's say, Japan or Hong Kong or somewhere, what I can do is, in order for me to easily identify what time it is at home in California, I can just rotate the bezel 7 clicks. As you can see here, I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. GMT hand marked 1600 hours because it is 4 o'clock in the afternoon in Pacific Daylight Time. And since I'm outside of my time zone, let's say I did travel somewhere, all I do is move my crown, unscrew the crown, go from position 1 to position 2. If I can pop that out. And I can just simply rotate my hour hand to whatever the time zone is where I travel to. That way, let's say I traveled somewhere and it is 7 o'clock or 7 whatever in the evening, I can now still tell that it's 1600 hours in California. So let's say I travel back home, all I do is simply pop my crown back and crown, and then I'll move back to 4 o'clock, and I can set my bezel back to top and then I still mark my GMT time at 2300. Simple adjustments. That's how I have mine set up, and that's what I assume you're supposed to set it up for because it makes sense to do it this way. People will say that they put the GMT hand for their home time. That makes absolutely no sense to me with a rotating bezel. If you have a Rolex Explorer, I guess that's one way to do it, but it kind of defeats the purpose of having a GMT hand if you're not going to use the GMT hand for GMT time. But people have their own ways to look about a GMT hand, I guess, their GMT complication for their own personal use. But this one makes sense for me, and with the GMT-Master II with a rotating bezel and the GMT hand.